The seventh module of SQL learning series, and in this module we will discuss about the store procedures, triggers, views and functions. Let's start. Stored procedure is defined as a set of statements grouped in a logical unit. According to the Wikipedia, stored procedure is a subroutine available to the applications that can access a relational database management system. So why we are using the stored procedure? Because stored procedures reducing the traffic between the client and server. Because stored procedure is a batch of statements, so this batch of statement is executed on the server, and from the client application only the command to execute this stored procedure is sent. So it will definitely reduce the traffic. Like in this stored procedure, this is the query analyzer, and we are using our example database TradingDB, and here we will create a stored procedure. This is the syntax of creating a stored procedure. Create procedure, and this procedure we will assign to our schema HR, and the procedure name is USP get employees. So here is the one parameter which we will pass to the stored procedure, and against this parameter stored procedure will return some values. So this is the body of the stored procedure, and here now we will see if thus we will pass stored procedures some parameter, the employee ID. If the employee ID is null or zero, it will bring all the employees. Or if this ID is some valid number, then it will bring the information against this ID. So these are the statements which are inside the stored procedures, and from the client only the command to execute this stored procedure will be issued along with this employee ID parameter, and all these statements are on the server in the stored procedure, so it will definitely reduce the traffic. Now we have created this stored procedure, and we will see how to execute this procedure. Suppose this is the value 30, we are going to pass this procedure USP get employee, and to execute the store procedure we have to use this syntax exec hr.usp get employees. When we will execute this store procedure, it will return the value against this ID, which is this one, and if I will pass some zero value, it will return all the employees information, because this is the logic of our store procedure. So stored procedure is working like this one, and it will reduce the traffic between the client and server. The next purpose of the stored procedure is that stored procedure provides us a strong security. Multiple users and client programs can perform operations on underlying database objects, for example tables, through a procedure, even if the users and programs don't have direct permission on those underlying objects. It means that if a user don't have a direct access to access a table like the employee table, if a user don't have the access to select the employee tables, but if we want to give some in, indirect way to execute these tables, so we will give him the access of a stored procedure. So in the previous example, we have created this stored procedure. The owner of the stored procedure is HR, and in the stored procedure we used these two tables, employee and countries, and the owner of these tables are also HR. Let's see who is the owner of this table. We can check from here in this TradingDB. We can go in this programmatically and stored procedures. Then we can see in the object of explorer details, this is our stored procedure and the owner is the HR. And if we want to see who the tables, we can go in the table menus, and here is our country table, and the country table owner is HR, and the employee table owner is also HR. Now we will create a new user, and we will try to access the table and we will try to execute the stored procedure with this new user, and we will see the effects. Right now our login is this one, and now going we will create a new salesman with a new login. Like this is the our database, and in this database we have created this user, and this user belongs to the login ERP. This ERP login we have created here in the SQL server. This is the ERP login which we have created, and this is a SQL server authentication login, and we mapped the SAL user to this login. Now we will execute the stored procedure with this login SAL. So here is sorry, this is the SAL is the user. So here is the login, this one, and in another query analyzer I am login with ERP, and if we want to see who is the user to this login, we can execute this command, and it will give us that SAL is the current user which is belongs to this ERP login. And now if we try to access this employee table which belongs to HR user, if we will try to execute this select query for this employee table against this SAL user, we will see can this user execute this query or not. It's giving the information that the select permission was denied on the object implies. So this SAL user don't have the access to access this employee table, and we will try to execute this stored procedure, and we will see can this SAL user execute this procedure or not. When we executed this procedure, the user don't have the permission to execute this procedure. So now we will give the execute right for this procedure to SAL user which don't have the access for the employee table which is coming in this stored procedure. So this is the login. Here assign the we will grant the execute right on this USP get employee stored procedure to SAL. This is the syntax if we want to grant some permissions to a user. So now the user have the execute permission for this stored procedure. Let's see again. This is the SAL user, and we will see is this user have the right to execute the select command for the employee table. No, the SAL user don't have the permission to execute the select command for employees table, but we have given the permission on the stored procedure which is using the employee table. So let's see can the SL user execute the stored procedure. Yes, the stored procedure is giving us the employees against this employee ID, and it means that now SAL user have the right to execute the stored procedure. So the SAL user don't have the right directly to execute the select command on the employee table, but indirectly we have given the SL user the right, the permission to use this table by implementing the logic in a stored procedure. So in this way we can hide our actual table, and we can manipulate the results according to the user requirements in the stored procedures. We can manipulate the logic for those objects which don't have the direct access to the user in the stored procedure. The next purpose why we are using the stored procedure, because it provides the reusability. The code for any RPTS database operation is the perfect candidate for encapsulated in procedures. Like if the same code need by different users, instead of writing this same code many times, we can write it into the stored procedure and we can give this access of this stored procedure to the related users. So this is the best use of the stored procedure, reusability. Procedure is also easy to maintain because the all the codes, all the statements are written in the stored procedure, so it is easy to change the stored procedure without affecting the application logic. Like is there is a if there is a business logic, for example in our trading database, there is a business logic that if the salesman have some certain limit of the sale, so the salesman will get the according to the sales this much per commission. So now the company policy is changed. They want to change the limit of the sales and to change the commission also. So we need to change the logic only in the stored procedures and no need to change anything on the client application. Even the client application don't know is there anything happened, and this is very easy to maintain. For example, this is the stored procedure, USP sales commission. Here we are passing the sales amount, and according to the amount, this procedure is returning the commission percentage. For example, here the company's business logic is this: if the sales amount is this much, then the commission is minus, there is no commission. And if is the sales amount between this and this, then there is the zero commission. And if there is the sales amount between this and this, then the salesman will get the 1.5% commission. And if the sales exist between this range, then the salesman will get this 2% commission. And according to this limit of sales, the salesman will get 2.5. And if it is greater than this sales amount, then the salesman will get the 3% commission. So if now this is the business logic to give the commission percentage to a salesman. If the company change the policy and they want to change the this limits of the percentage, we have to change only in the procedures and the client application will be the same. There is no effect, so it is very easy to maintain. And also the stored procedure improve the performance. By default, stored procedure compiles only the first time when it is executed and create at that time an execution plan. This plan is stored in the query cache, memory cache, and then this plan is reused next time when this procedure is called. So it will definitely improve the performance, but it will no in some cases it will improve the performance, and we have to see this case by case. In this seventh module, we have first studied the stored procedures, and we came to know that what is the stored procedure and for what purposes we are using it, and all the purposes of the stored procedure we explored and studied with the examples.